You are now listening to the most electrified and vilified podcast on the net, Hot Topix Podcast. Let's get this party started. Welcome everybody to the Hot Topix Podcast. I'm Psycho41 and I'm here with
Lamb Chop.
Hey, how you doing today?
Sigh.
And Notorious, Felonious, Flavius, Feather. I'm gonna add another thing to her middle name.
Oh, please don't add nothing else to that poor child's name.
She's not going to be with us for this episode. She'll join us on the next one. So Trump won. And
let's go back. Let's go back.
Wait a minute. I'm going to explain why she's not here. Because obviously we're talking about American elections and stuff like that, and
right.
You know, she's not American citizen.
Gotcha.
And she was actually captured because they got her, you know, because they was talking about immigration and stuff like that, and they asked her, you know, one of the questions to test whether she was a citizen here. They heard her accent,
Lord.
And she says, they said, "Who wrote the Star Spangled Banner?" And she said, "Martin Luther King."
You get on my nerves. You get on my nerves.
Actually, I stole that from the Sopranos.
I can't with you. I can't. No, I was going to go back to the fact that when we did this, the part one of this podcast, we forgot to mention, and I don't know how we did that the legendary Quincy Jones had passed away.
Yes, Quincy Jones, R.I.P.
I'm glad he's not here to see this.
Whew. Quincy.
Yeah.
Now, just a little bit about Quincy Jones. Do you have anything about Quincy Jones?
Just that he had a long, star-studded career, and that he was an extremely talented musician.
Yes. Musician, composer, producer, and I think a lot. So one of my favorite TV shows, he wrote the theme song. People don't know. Yes, to the Sanford and Son. He started off as a trumpet player.
Yes.
And then
way back in the day,
yes,
like Cab Calloway back in the day.
He's back
era.
there.
Yeah.
He met Ray Charles when he was a kid.
Right.
So, he has a long career. I didn't know he had that many Grammys too.
Oh yeah.
It was some ungodly amount, like 28.
Yeah, it's. I mean, cause think about it. The albums he made, he recorded, the productions that he did. You know, you could keep listing all of his great accomplishments.
He had one of my favorites, The Dude.
Oh yeah.
That was a great one.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody knows his work with Michael Jackson.
We Are the World.
He
composed that. It's just like Austin Powers theme song. That's not the name of it. Bossa Nova. Is that what it is?
He did the Austin Powers theme song?
Uh-huh.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I want to say that's called the Bossa Nova, but I'm not 100% sure.
And he brought a lot of other artists out there, like Patty Austin.
Yeah.
James Ingram.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
A lot of R&B artists.
Yeah. He died at the age of 91. Yeah.
91. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a long, beautiful career.
Yeah.
And yeah, his talents will live on.
Yeah.
Forever. His talents will live on. So, y'all, family, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. And yesterday I was in such a icky, nasty mood. It's lifted a little bit. I did some journaling last night, and I said I don't ever remember being this disappointed by an election. But then I said, "Oh, yes, it was the last time
you needed some distractions."
Yeah, it's the last time he won.
You know what? One of the things that came out of this, and we all know we'll talk about that, but people were posting on social media their support for him. So it was like people that I liked, that I followed on Instagram, whatever. Like I'm a Steelers fan,
right?
So that's 3 Steelers, really good Steelers, former players that went out there. 2 of them went on the campaign, and one was hey, congratulations and thanks, this and that, whatever. Unfollow. One of them, I actually made some comments about, because he was talking about, he did something really derogatory. This is Le'Veon Bell, former Steelers running back. He did something on Twitter, and he had a shirt that says Trump versus the Tramp.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, they clowned him big time on they was like, because he said something like, if she wins, he's going to leave the country.
Bye.
Right? They was like, come on now. That's cap. You can't leave the country because you can't get a passport. You owe too much child support. Says you got 7 babies by 6 different baby mamas.
Ouch.
Oh, they was getting on him talking about, all right, Mr. Ashy Lips. I mean, they really went in on him, So yeah, we had that, and then what's the guy's name? The big worm.
Don't get me started.
From Friday. The comedian. He played.
I know who you're talking about. I have no idea what his name is.
Faison.
Okay.
He's a Trump supporter. Yeah. I was like, unfollow. So these people, I'm just saying. Well.
Yeah, I'm not a happy girl. I'm not a happy girl
so
at all.
For those who live on Mars who don't know what happened, we have she lost the general election to Trump on election night. It wasn't close. I think she only got like 65 million votes. Not that the popular vote counts, but
I just find that amazing though.
Yeah,
I don't know.
From the last time, I think they had somewhere around 78 million votes for the Democratic candidate.
Right.
Now, Trump, on the other hand, he actually had the same
amount of voters?
The same amount, yes.
Okay.
Oh. Wait a minute. Oh. Yeah, he had the same amount of voters, including the gains he got from different demographics.
Wow. I don't know. I just feel like it's a sad, sad state of affairs. It really is. Like, there are people out there who can't, who are felons and can't vote, and you have a felon for a president. I'm not. Make that make sense.
I say go ahead and do a lawsuit for everybody who can't get a job because they have a felony on their record. Do the lawsuit.
That's a good idea, actually.
So he got a lot of the Latino vote,
which he's talking about deporting the whole.
Yeah, he got he doubled the black vote that he had last time. Which black women, for I recall, they had 92% of the vote went to Kamala,
right?
And then I think it was only 80 of the black men that actually, but a lot of them didn't vote also. So Latino men overwhelmingly voted for him.
Shame.
But yeah, it's I think it came down to about 17 million, give or take, that did not cast a vote.
Participate.
Yeah, and that including, if you look at the last one, and mind you, he lost a lot of votes from his original base,
right?
Because he took some of the minorities and the Latin people, whatever. So that means that a lot of those people voted for her,
right?
Now,
but just not enough.
It wasn't enough. That means a lot of people who normally would have voted for blue did not vote.
Right.
So that's the bad
thing.
And
I keep saying to people, I'm just not going to vote. When they say I'm just not going to vote, your non-vote is a vote for them.
Yes.
And you have to understand. It's a lot of stuff that people need to understand when this game is played, and they just really aren't getting it. Mm-hmm. They just really are not getting it. And, I'm afraid for our elderly people. I'm afraid for our children. That he's going to make all the women have. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid for just everybody, medication, women's rights, like all of these things that people need on a daily basis. And part of me feels like he's just going to blame Joe and Kamala.
Yes.
It's going to be their fault. He's not going to be responsible for anything that he does.
But he's going to take credit for certain things. All right. So since the election, so what happened due to the election, the stock markets, rose. Not it wasn't record. It was high,
right.
But not like they did under the Biden administration. Right. But that's because they anticipated him taking away the regulations and what was the other one? Oh, dropping the corporate tax rate to 15%.
Right.
So that's that's a bump. He'll say, well, yeah, I did this to the stock market. Okay, it's only a bump. And then the Feds lowered the interest rates. Yeah, 0.25, which is whatever. But that's because inflation was going down.
Right.
Under the Biden administration. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And I don't even know why I'm mentioning it, because we have short memories.
Right. Apparently, we clearly have short memories.
We do.
Clearly, some people in the United States have short memories, because I'm still trying to figure out, if you have any decency, how do you think it was okay to vote for him?
Oh, I talked to one of my friends. Well, I considered a friend. He's a coworker. Pretty decent guy, I thought. Law enforcement officer or former. He's retired, and he made a post on social media talking about we're not deplorables, we're not this, and we're not, because a lot of people were offended that they were considered that because they were Trump supporters. And I asked him, why are you a Trump supporter? Especially you being law enforcement, and and he said, well, all the stuff is the media. The media is biased, da, da, da. So he asked me a bunch of questions. I said, well, he's racist, he's this, he's that. So I gave him what they call receipts.
Right. Right.
So everything I gave him, he basically countered with, that's not the real truth, because he knows. He says
these things out of his mouth. Nobody's putting words in his mouth.
And that was my reply. I said, well, this stuff, actually, you can listen to this stuff. It's written in the court records. You
can Google it.
Yeah. So, but he had the inside scoop. So it wasn't about them, like, well, I got a daughter, I have a wife, or all. They just did not believe. Even the woman that he found responsible for rape, he said, well, I had the inside information that she's really, she has mental problems, and she makes those false accusations against many people.
Okay, show him. Yeah. Show them. Show me all of her false accusations. That's what I want to see. I want to see all her false accusations.
Yeah. So that was it was that, but they did not. But so we can say, well, these are things, because we see, we hear, we can read, whatever. Right. These are the things. Now, on their part, some of them just don't believe that that's actually true. So it's not, they don't feel that they're
Roe v. Wade is true. Roe v. Wade is the law of the land now. That is true. You rescinded that.
Well, they don't like murder. Except when it's the death penalty.
Right. Right. And except when you take out a full page ad in a newspaper to kill 5 innocent black men.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, he got mad at me because I asked him, well, how's retirement treating you? And that was it. It was the response, whatever. So, but it did give me an eye into what, a lot of them believe. They legitimately do not believe
that any of this is true.
Yes.
How,
Sway? Yeah, exactly. That's the magic question.
Okay. I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. Like, you're okay with women dying. You're okay with families not being able to have the babies that they want to have through IVF.
Well, that's another thing. People don't realize that that's part of it. It's like, well, what does that have to do with it? So they didn't know that. So it's a lot of,
it's all your reproductive health.
But if you talk to a lot of them, they're basing stuff on false information. Like, oh, I voted for him because of the economy,
and we got the stimulus checks.
Yeah,
don't forget that part.
And I'm like, well, do you know that's from the Democrats? Yeah, he actually opposed that.
Right.
Until he could find out he could put his name on it. It was people talking about, well, inflation. I'm like, well, then you explain how inflation works. It's nothing. Or, I'm going to say, of all the people that I did talk to, I'm going to say, if I had to put a percentage on it, I'm going to say 98% of them were based on false information. Oh, and then it was the, which was large, was transgender care.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
And my whole thing with that, the big lie with that was like, they're letting your kids have, surgery without your permission. No surgeon in the world is going to let a 13-year-old get gender reassignment surgery. They're not.
Or an abortion after the child is born.
Yeah. Or 8-month abortions. Like, nobody is doing that. Stop it. Stop with the lies. You show me one 8-month abortion.
Well, here it goes. And I was talking to Senator Ben Brooks of Maryland, right? Had a conversation with him. I just ran into him at an event, and I was like, I was at an event, and I know your opponent was telling crowds of people, or the information they got was a bunch of lies. Right. I said, well, and I spoke up. I said, listen, that's not true. I happened to I had the inside information on it, and I was telling him it doesn't matter because lies work. A candidate can go, if you keep saying it enough, it becomes true.
It don't become true. People believe it.
Right.
It doesn't
become
true. People believe it.
And nobody's going to do their research. They're going to listen to what you say, and then I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna regurgitate it, and the next person, and that's how things work. And it's unfortunate. That's what we have. We have here where anybody has a platform, including us. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then anybody can say any nonsense, and people just automatically believe it. So
I am sad that people have so much disregard for women, for minorities.
Do you think that's what it's about?
Yes.
Okay, we're in agreement.
Yes.
So now Trump. Let's go with the numbers. Trump won the first election against
Hillary.
Yep. Right. She actually destroyed him on the popular vote.
Yep.
But it was those states.
Yep.
Those states that actually pushed her over the limit. The second election, when he went up against a man, he lost significantly.
Yep.
This election, he won significantly.
Right.
Because it was one against a woman,
yep.
and it was a black woman to add.
Yep.
So
a black Asian woman.
Yeah. So now you got to look at some of those states. This was the shocking part for me. She lost Michigan.
Yes.
Wisconsin.
Yes.
Pennsylvania.
Yes.
She's probably going to lose Nevada.
Yeah.
She lost North Carolina.
North Carolina was the one.
Georgia, and probably Arizona.
I kind of expected Georgia.
I didn't, I didn't expect that to happen, but
Georgia,
she should have been in play.
Yeah.
So those are the states that typically
Nevada's
always blue.
Yeah.
Michigan's always, Wisconsin, they flipped, I think, one time, but that's blue.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, they flipped a couple times, but that's a blue state. So I was surprised that he basically had the trifecta on that. He was like, bop, bop, bop,
right.
But I was looking at the demographics, and it appeared the more educated you were, the more you leaned to Harris.
Right.
Right. And we talked about the Latino males. They voted for Trump.
Shame on you.
It was
shame on any woman who voted for him.
Yes.
Shame on you.
Trump definitely carried the white woman vote.
Yes.
But like I said, the black women came out. They 92% were higher. That and that's just how it is. I knew. And I was hoping that people come to their senses. That I was saying that
you kept trying to warn me.
Yes. Don't please. I hope this country don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. But deep down inside, I know. All right,
you kept trying to warn me.
And this is what about the Democrats. They have sort of a naivete about their outlook on America,
right? Where
they actually think, well, we can put a female candidate up there and we're gonna get success because they look at the other side, and he should, in any other normal society, that person wouldn't even have been there. Right?
They wouldn't have been able to run because they probably should have been in jail.
Exactly. So you lost 2 elections because you put up 2 women. Now, the first time when Hillary went, it should have been Biden. He was a vice president. He waited.
Right.
He should have actually, and I'm sure Trump would have lost.
Right. Right.
So that's one. But he went up against the Clintons, and some
people
didn't
hated the Clintons. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people hated the Clintons,
and they didn't want women. Even some people said, "Well, this is from women. I don't think a woman should be president, and I don't think they should be leading this and that, whatever."
Margaret Thatcher.
Yes, Margaret.
Can I just we could probably go down a list of other countries who've had women,
really good women
leaders. Right?
Yes.
So what is it about a woman that they think that they can't lead? Y'all certainly leading your households. You're certainly leading your companies.
All right. So this is
you are most certainly leading some Fortune 500 companies.
Let me tell you one of the things.
Your
that
own
I've
businesses. Heard. Okay, I'm sorry. And if you say something about her being on her period, I will kick you off this chair. Off the chair.
We can't trust. These are actually people debating this. What if she's on her period and she's pressing the button, or she got the nuclear codes? I'm like, you're dumb.
What if you're a fucking idiot who has 39 felony convictions and rape women and pony up to our enemies and show them secrets that they shouldn't have and decided to push the button?
Well, it was clear that this American society do not value women.
Yeah.
And two, they don't value black people.
Yeah.
And certainly she had the double whammy.
Right.
She was a black woman, and black women really get the short end of the stick when it comes to most. But if you look at society, and I look all the polling, black women are the most educated compared to their counterparts.
Right. So,
and we have some really great women that could have taken that as well equally.
Right.
You had and somebody was mentioning that it's the white privilege. Here you privileged that you had enough. You have a guy here who's indicted in several states,
right?
Convicted felon, sex offender,
fraudster. I mean, we could go down the list,
right? Versus a person who was a district attorney on the side of law,
right?
An attorney general from one of the most, if not the most important country in the nation. State in the nation, and a senator
and vice president.
So she's been in prominent parts of the government, the legislative, judicial, and executive branch
all her life.
Right? No scandals. What she have?
Facts.
And then she still had to
outperform him and be held at a higher standard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But this is America. I wish I had that song coming on.
I wish.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. My feelings hurt. I ain't even gonna lie. My feelings are hurt.
Now I'm gonna tell you this though. I'm gonna tell you what's funny is
none of this is funny.
There's some of the stuff that people are saying. Hold on.
Yeah. I don't know.
That me one of them. I think we should get what we deserve. And I know it's going to hurt some people.
It is going to hurt a lot of people.
But some people need to be shown.
But see, I feel like, too, even if we do get what we deserve, it's not going to be his fault. Because they're not holding him accountable for any of these other things. So why are they going to hold him accountable now? It's not going to be his fault.
This is America.
My fear is they're going to gut Social Security. My fear is they're going to gut. And they have the House and the Senate. So my fear is they're going to allow him to do all the things that he wants to do. It's going to gut Social Security. It's going to gut Medicare, Medicaid. Healthcare.
They actually might be successful this time.
He's talking about getting rid of all of these agencies. So you think you getting food recalls now. Wait till you don't have the Food and Drug Administration.
Right.
And see what your food looks like.
So one of the things, though, we've had episodes where we're talking about bad food, is our food healthy, and the environment, and all these different things.
Yep.
Now you have a person who comes in who, one, does not, that wants to get rid of those agencies, the regulations. We have somebody in his circle, RFK Jr., who's an anti-vaxxer.
Crackpot.
So they've already identified certain things or certain acts where they're not going to require certain vaccines in schools. So that's coming too.
And so the kids that are left in school, you're going to make them register for the draft?
Well, we have an intruder here.
Yeah, she is upset. She's just as upset as I am. Yeah, she is. She is feeling some kind of way and want to be heard. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. And if he's able to push through all of the things that he really wants to do.
Oh, now I'm going to tell you what's funny though. What's today?
Thursday.
2 days after the election. You remember all that time people were, the Trump defenders were saying he has nothing to do with Project 2025.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's that, and then I think they was trying to change the name of it and stuff like that. Well, 2 days later, they're front and center. They're saying we can't wait to implement Project 2025. So if you've ever read it or you heard about it, get ready, because now they have the presidents, they have the White House, they have the House of Representatives, and they have the Senate. Yep. So, and you know what? And I thought about something too. I could see a lot of lawsuits happening with some of the things that they do. Right. I don't know if they're successful, but I see them being held up in some sort of way. But it's going to be interesting. And like I said, I hope he does exactly what he says, because this country needs.
I don't. Because I feel like the damage that he's going to do over these 4 years is going to take us 8 to fix.
Well, it's probably going to take more, because if he has the opportunity to place another
Supreme
Court justice, because the ones
made my stomach hurt.
The ones he's placed so far, they're relatively young,
right,
and new. Right. So now you have.
For life, and they have appointment for life, so they're not going anywhere.
So the older people in this on the Supreme Court would be Clarence Thomas,
and who should not be there.
He should not be there.
He should not be there. It should be an inquiry into him post haste.
Yeah. Well, now he's going to be he may retire, because he's going to avoid.
Why? Nobody's going to do anything now. Trump's president. Nobody's going to do anything about him now.
No, but he can retire and get somebody in. So I think that's what he did last time. He stayed on only because Joe Biden was the president. Okay. So he didn't.
So you're saying now that Trump he can retire.
He can retire, and he can replace him with somebody younger. It's going to be there longer. So, that's what we're dealing with, and it's sad. It's just sad.
So for all of the people who didn't vote, shut the fuck up.
I wanted to play something I found on TikTok, though. It was it was funny to me. Now, I think everything's funny, but
you do think everything's funny. So, I ain't laughing, family.
But listen to this. Then we're gonna go to a commercial. But listen to this for the this voting block, right? See if I can get it to play.
That's how it is when you want something to play, it won't.
Oh my goodness. Don't tell me I copied the wrong thing.
Well, you're gonna have to give us the synopsis.
So it was a Latino guy.
Okay.
And he was talking about how, he was basically getting on his own people. Okay. And he said, he posted up on the on his screen, he says, since you guys wanted him, we're gonna make sure that happens. So he posted the number 2 of Homeland Security, or ICE, to report anybody, any Latino person that they felt was illegal. He says, he says, a lot of you people who are legal that wanted him, you got family members, you got brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever. Now we're going to tell on your people. So he was gosh. Like, he says, when you go low, I go lower. But
he's gonna snitch everybody out. He's not playing.
He says, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but you know what? That's how I do. I go low, and I could appreciate that.
The only saving grace is that he can't do it again.
Yes, and there was people trying to do that too. They was trying to say, well, we should prepare for his 3rd term.
No.
Yeah. So
no. I'm mad that we have 2.
Yeah. So just for those who don't know, you can only run. You can run as many times, but you can only be elected to the presidency twice, whether it be consecutive or one after the other. I mean, one either. What's the word?
That is consecutive, one after the other.
Not the other one. If you skip one, you can only do 2 terms as president.
Period.
Here's the kicker: you can be elected, but you can ascend to the position. So that was one thing that
How? Ascend how?
because let's say if like this is the thing.
Oh well, if
Obama was Kamala Harris's running mate,
right,
and or Joe Biden's running mate, because that's what they tried to do at first.
Okay.
So if he was incapable of doing a job, or he passed away, whatever, now he can take the presidency.
Gotcha.
He just can't run again.
Gotcha.
So those are things in there.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well, with this new dictatorship, he may try to change that too. Who knows? I don't know. It's just like I said, it's a sad state of affairs, and well, at least Maryland kept our reproductive rights.
yes.
That passed.
It was several on the ballot.
Yes.
Of different states.
Yes.
So
and it looks like most states kept theirs. Yeah.
Florida didn't. Just want to throw it out there. Florida. That's, all right. So if you haven't known by now, or you can't tell by now, Lamb Chop and I are not a fan of the state of Florida
At all.
And
Okay, let's
good
say
reason.
this. It's not the state's fault.
It's not the state's fault.
It is the
Why is
people who are governing the
Yes,
state.
yes.
Because
Who-
Florida is beautiful.
It is. We're not talking about the geography,
Right. We're
Well, it's
talking
the
about people
people
that are governing the state.
and the people who put them in office,
And the people who put them in office.
who Trump won easily again.
Again.
All those Latinos.
And so did Ted Cruz.
Oh, that's another one too.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. The Latino population there, just the elderly populace. Oh, I can't even talk.
We're both traumatized.
I am traumatized.
The elderly population.
Population, yeah, the elderly population in Florida. Those are the people that's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
But but if you voted for them, that's what you get.
I just looked in the bag, my workout bag. I haven't seen it in a while. And I just discovered 3 Nutri-Grain bars.
That's been in there and how long? You don't know how
It's
long.
getting eaten.
Oh, Lord.
I feel like I hit the lottery.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Stop it.
You had a
Stop it
confused
with the
look on my-
crinkle and paper. Stop it. I did have a confused look. I was like, first of all, why is he digging in that bag? And secondly, he came up with treats. You know what? I honestly thought you were looking for something for the cat, to give the cat to calm her down.
I was actually looking for an ink pen, which I don't have, but I got 3 new Nutri-Grain bars.
The level of special, family. The level of special.
So I was working out, so I always put the little snacks in there to eat after
Yeah.
workout, and I forgot they were in there.
But that's probably not a good snack to eat after work.
What, Nutri-Grain bars? Oh, who cares? They were good.
Listen, if it tastes really yummy, it's probably not good for you.
Yeah, I just wanted to mark something down. But we're going to come right back after a couple advertisements say what they need to say. All right. So that's. I'm still stunned. So we do have somebody who's calling in, who's going to get on this, and we want to get an opinion on this fiasco. I'm not going to say it's a fiasco. I'm gonna be positive. Say it's a positively going to be a fiasco, but to somebody.
I mean, basically, we survive no matter who the president is.
Yeah.
Basically, we do.
But we still, my thing was this: the election has long standing consequences that people don't realize.
Yes.
People that were voting for Trump were complaining about their taxes.
They gonna get it.
Here's the thing: we were still under Trump's tax plan.
Right.
It doesn't expire until next year.
Right.
So it was like everybody who wanted to, that was for Trump, was for the wrong reasons.
Right.
So that's just.
And they thinking that they're going to improve their status in life. You're not. Because now he could just write a new bill. His cronies will pass it, and you'll be paying the same or more amount of taxes.
All right, what you got to say? We have a caller, a special calling guest. Can you hear us?
Are we live yet?
Yeah.
Oh, how you doing today, Brian?
Good.
Yeah.
Wait, let me ask you a question first. How do you feel about this this election? What word can best describe what you feel?
Sadness.
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 Yeah.
I believe that people overlooked and voted this man in the office.
Yeah.
And the reasons that they gave that didn't make sense.
Were you
I'm sorry.
Were you surprised?
Was I surprised? I probably wasn't surprised, but I was hoping that it wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
We had hope. I think a lot of us actually feel that way.
Absolutely.
Now, do you think that her being a woman was the biggest influence on the outcome?
I think it was a combination of different things. I think social media.
Okay.
People ill-formed on what was both platforms. They were ill-formed on that person that won the election.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do their investigation. And like I said, they listened to social media. I mean, it's just like, a lot of these kids don't know their history.
Mm-hmm.
Down in Florida, it's been going on and it's going to continue. Once you take a history, you don't teach them history or anything. They don't teach civics in school.
Right.
They
and you know what?
Teach anything, any civics, politics, or anything.
And people want to know why is that important that one group decides to ban books in school or ban African American studies
right
in school, in college.
In college, yeah.
Well, they try to erase your history.
Yep.
They've been erasing history for years, and now they're going to legally do it. Project 25, but they've been doing that for years, though.
Well,
they've been for years.
And the way they look at it now, because of, the outcome, not just the outcome, but how it was won, they have a sense of a mandate that look, we won the majority of states. And honestly, I don't think anybody's gotten that badly beat since Ronald Reagan went up against Walter Mondale when he won one state, and that was Minnesota, his home state. But I think that was one of the biggest thrashings I've seen.
Well, Jimmy Carter didn't do too well either.
Yeah, but
You know what? I thought about something because we said, she's Black Asian woman, but she also had a white husband.
Right.
And there are a lot of people who are still not okay with that.
Yep. That was one. That was one. I've heard that. But I think overall, the demographics that typically support the Democratic Party just did not come out to vote. Because 17 million votes is a lot.
That's a lot of people.
And I thought maybe that with RFK Jr. in some of the races and Jill Stein, that they would affect the outcome of some states, but they didn't get a lot of votes that would, typically flip a state.
Right.
So that was on them.
So, caller, what do you think we need to do going forward?
Going forward, fight. Don't give up.
Like fight as in rush the Capitol building?
No, fight. You're going to have to get out there and you're going to have to vote. You're going to have to get involved. You're going to get involved in your communities. You're going to have to, your local governments. Way that what they did in reference, they just not voted for president or Congress or Senate. They voted for local governments.
Right.
They positions up.
And that's the sad part, because when you don't come out to vote, you actually affect that state and local government as well.
That's right.
And initiatives on the ballot. That's the sad part. But now going back to what you said, you mentioned fight, go out and vote, whatever. One of the things that I think was a shortcoming of the Democratic Party was that they did not make a greater effort to dispel fact from fiction. They didn't go out. This is what they're going to have to do.
I'm not sure it would have mattered.
But based on what people, the misinformation that people had, I think as a party, you're now your back is against the wall. You have to go out there and make some effort, some grassroots effort. That's when he mentioned the local stuff.
Right.
You have to have a grassroots effort to educate people. Like you said, they're not learning civics and stuff like that in school. They're not learning history. But the parties on that local level have to go out there and say, listen, this is how things work.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about. I thought you was talking about dispelling the opponent's lies, because clearly he lied all along out of his own mouth. None of this stuff was made up about him, and it didn't matter.
Yeah. Well,
but you controls the media.
Oh, that's another thing. It's going to be an uphill battle.
Also go back to social media.
Yeah.
So it is the same thing. Most of the people get their information off of social media, not even from the real news, and they don't investigate it.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Look at I hate to even say that word, X.
Oh.
Look at some of the riffraff that is spread on that platform.
And I think we need to start using our power in some of these social media platforms. Pull out of that. If you're not liking what's going on, a whole bunch of us need to pull out of that and stop posting and stop giving it your attention.
Well, what he just said about X, let me tell you, this is, I'm a social media person, right? On X, formerly known as Twitter, one of the things that they do, they'll post something that says breaking, right? Mm-hmm. As if it's like a legitimate news source.
Right.
And they post actually something that's really, really off. And that's where they get their propaganda from. So people, again, look at it like it's breaking news.
Right.
Donald Trump was exonerated from all charges and blah, blah, blah. And they, like he said, nobody's going to research, so they definitely have a fight.
But he had an 8-year head start, because after a while people get desensitized when they hear people repeat something over and over and over again.
Yeah,
you said that. Yeah.
It doesn't even matter. Sort of like your favorite song. Well, not your favorite song, but the song you didn't like until you hear it on the radio 5 and 6 times a day, constantly. After a while, you start singing that song. Get desensitized, and it's like it doesn't happen. If Obama would have did the same things he did, they would have probably tried to hang him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I apologize for saying that, but
no, I agree.
They would have crucified him. If January 6th would have happened, and there would have been Democrats, or it would have been people of color, it wouldn't have ended up that same way.
No, you're right.
So here's something that I thought was pretty special. You had 13 people, at least 13 people, right, that worked closely with him, high-ranking officials within his own administration. And we're not talking about somebody who was just, the butler. We ain't talking about the cook. We're talking about people who actually had inside information with just them.
Daily meetings with him.
The Secretary of State, the chairman, the defense secretary, chairman, joint chief of staff, chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff. You had the National Security Advisor, his chief of staff. You had all these people who are, like, when they have these meetings, they're the only people in these meetings that go over the most sensitive things.
Right.
If they're telling you he's a fascist or he fits the definition of fascist, and these people are, like, again, these are educated people who are like generals, admirals, CEOs of major corporations. They're saying that he's lazy. He doesn't read the security briefings. He doesn't do his homework. He doesn't pay attention. He's impulsive. He's unfit. He fits the definition of fascist. He doesn't know history.
How many people do you think know the meaning of fascism?
3.
Who do you blame for that, though? Do you reward them for coming out at the last minute?
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
If you knew somebody was doing something from day one and you never said anything, you're just as guilty as that person.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. So with them, I think what they tried to do is, and people would normally do that, they would try to influence him into not doing certain things. And that's why they got fired, because they wouldn't go along with certain things. Like some of the things that he wanted to do, he wanted to send missiles into Mexico. Right? He literally wanted to go to war with Iran. So what they were able to kind of keep him from doing certain things, but because they bumped heads, he fired them. And this is the type of man he is. You're the president of the United States. You have these high-ranking officials, Secretary of State, National Security, by all these people. How do you fire him? He fired him from a tweet.
Yeah. Because you're cowardice.
Yeah.
And can't pull somebody in the office. But, you know, like the caller was saying, if you had as soon as you were fired, started telling people, or even before you were fired, started telling people that these things are happening. But I think it's that there's this whole secrecy about protect the presidency, not necessarily the person, but the office of the president.
Right.
So people don't come out and say things. But you could have started at the beginning of this election saying those things.
I'm going to tell you this. Then they had people like the fired attorney general, Bill Barr, who basically laid it. Now, he tried to cover for him all the time. Even with his first investigation, he messed that one up. But he came out and said a lot of things about Trump that said he's a danger to democracy. A whole bunch of different things, right? He just laid it on the line. They went at it. And then like Nikki Haley and a whole bunch of other Republicans, when he got the nomination and they knew he was going to actually get it,
they started kissing the ring. Yeah, they started
him.
kissing the ring.
Yep.
Because, you know, they want to keep their jobs.
Now, Liz Cheney didn't. You know, some of the old school people
kind
who
of Liz Cheney was already out, and she knew she was ousted, and you know, she's like, I don't have nothing to lose, but I won't I'm not going to say that you're president again. And I also feel like some people claim I'm not voting for him, but when you go into the booth, nobody knows who you're voting for. Who you're voting for.
Well, I could tell you this. This is a funny thing too. There's a lot of people on social media that's out there saying that, you know, we should vote for this person and a whole bunch of different things, right? But there's a website that you can go to and see if they voted.
Okay, but then you can't see who they voted for.
You can't see who they voted for. But you can see that they never voted.
Oh, I got you. I see what you're saying. Okay.
You 40, 50 years old and you haven't voted since at least, I think it went back to 2012.
Yeah.
So you didn't vote in any election.
Which means you're just as guilty too.
But to me, your one vote is not as powerful as your voice. So if I decide not to vote, but I'm out here promoting this person or disparaging this person, I might influence 10 people.
Yeah.
And then they disparage, 10 people.
You're right.
So to me, that's even worse. But yeah,
I don't think it's no excuse for any person of color not to vote.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So many people have died for you to have the right to vote.
Agreed.
Who have sacrificed everything for you to vote. You should be voting every time.
Agreed.
Exactly.
It should be no excuse.
Well, what if you have this irritated me too. Ice Cube. He goes on there with his following and he tells people, don't let nobody, tell you or guilt you into voting. You don't have to vote and this and that, whatever. Or Dr. Umar Johnson, who flip-flops on a lot of things, telling people, or in some others, telling people that black people should hold their vote until they get what they want.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So,
but they have alternative reasons why they say that and why they do that.
Oh, they got reasons, I'm sure, because they rich. That's why. And some people do it just because they just want to exert their influence. And I understand. Oh, I'm gonna get into these people here, the reparations people. We're not voting because we're not getting reparations. Everybody else got reparations. So let me ask you something. If you don't vote, and you have one party who said right up in front, we're not giving you reparations because there's nobody alive that was a slave back then, and you guys had a black president, so there's no racism. These are literally, this is what they said, right? So
that's the racist statement that they just made,
right?
By top level,
you have a black president. You already had a black president.
Yep.
That's racist right there.
1 out of what, 48?
But it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter who's the president as long as they do what's right.
Exactly.
For all.
Exactly.
You think we're gonna get that now?
Oh no.
Absolutely not.
Oh no.
He already told you. He already said what he's gonna do. I'm still trying to figure out what a black job was.
Right, right. When they tell you who they are, believe them.
Mm-hmm.
My black job was making sure I went out to that poll and voted.
Yep. And at every election, not just at the presidential election, at every election. And you know what? I have to honestly say my mother did not vote until Obama.
Oh, really?
And I did not know that she wasn't voting. You know, and I guess it just never occurred to me that she wasn't voting. And I'm like, what? You not registered to vote? What?
Let me ask you this. Did you ever think you would see a black president in your lifetime?
Oh, no.
Never.
No.
I thought not neither.
I didn't believe until they said he had over the whatever votes. Seriously, I didn't think, you know, and even when he was in the primary, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want this guy to come in and run for president because he's going to, they're going to blame him for everything. And then we're going to get to the general election and nobody's going to vote for him because he's black. Right. So I truly didn't believe that.
I thought that it would be, you know, people would say they would vote for him, but when push came to shove, but I mean, I was surprised. I was happy.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That was the day that I will never forget.
Yeah.
That's on the same level as my kids being born.
You know,
but I didn't like that we of color, we blamed him for not doing this and not doing that.
Exactly. But I'm gonna tell you this.
This
is a statistical fact, and this will guide policy. When you have the highest voter turnout, Republicans never win. Knowing that, what would your strategy be if you was in the Republican Party?
What they did,
start with redistricting.
Yep.
They start discouraging you. They start taking vote away.
Yep.
As far as saying you're not allowed, you're not signed up to vote, illegal. They drop polls.
Yep. Changing your polls.
Purging the voter rolls. They did that. They did it in a couple states, actually. But that is their strategy. And when they do that, when you have a low turnout, just like we had this one, we didn't have the high turnout.
Right.
They won.
Right.
So, you know, that tells you what, you know, the power of your vote collectively.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, my son said it was people getting turned away because they were like, I've always voted in, you know, at this place. And it's like, oh no, your poll got changed to blah, blah, blah place.
Oh, they didn't pay attention.
Right. And I was just like, you got to read everything. You got to read your mail. You wasn't reading your mail.
But you know what? There's easier ways to avoid that. Do the early voting.
Right.
You can go to
vote anywhere.
Yeah.
And you have time. You don't have to rush. No long lines and all that type of stuff. And then that's another strategy. So what the Republicans were trying to do was curb.
Stop the early vote.
Yes.
Yep.
Or out there working.
Well, caller, thank you so much for calling in and participating. I will get over this, but I feel like I want to wallow in my self-pity for a little bit. And soon I will be better because, you know, we got to still put one foot in front of the other and still teach the youngins.
All right. We're going to break real quick for another commercial, and we'll be right back. All right. You know, we have to add it in there. We're trying to do the proper spacing and all that.
We're working on it. We're getting better.
You want me to get off now, Brian?
No, you can stay. We actually we're gonna wrap this up because we're coming up on an hour, and we have another one to talk about. So thank you for chiming in.
Yes, thank you.
And
guess I'll be getting written up.
Oh,
they don't know your name. Will you tell me?
I'll take that picture. Can they see that picture?
No. So this is audio. We don't. This actually we delete the actual video part.
Yeah, we're not doing video.
Yeah,
I ain't trying to beat my face twice a week for this. We're not doing video.
So yeah, it ain't like your voice is not recognizable though.
Hey, if they didn't see him, listen. The Steve Harvey train of thought. I don't care.
So angry. I'm angry at my kids, my sons. I can't believe it.
They didn't vote?
No, they voted.
Okay, good.
They're not allowed in the house no more.
Oh.
It's not for being for voting. It's just not being smart.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to worry about that with my kids because I take my son with me and my daughter. It's so funny. How old was she?
Oh, I done it too.
You took them and let them. And you know what? As parents, that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I took mine too.
Yeah. We need to show them what happens, and so they don't have any nervousness, no apprehension. My daughter actually was upset because she thought she was actually voting.
Oh, she didn't get a chance to vote.
Like, well, you can't vote at. Well, I think she was like 13, or 12, or 10, whatever it was. So, but I let her come in, and actually do the selections and stuff like that. So, we have to do better.
You know my story from 20 something years ago, and sometimes other people have bigger influence.
Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of sad for our kids because outside entities have a bigger influence sometimes than we do.
Oh, they ain't outside, they inside.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The other half.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Listen, we're gonna have to bring you back to when we do our episode of What Men Want.
Oh Lord, are we doing that again?
Well, we did what women want.
Okay.
So now we need to.
I had to figure out how to change my voice.
We can work on that.
Actually, I could do a voice changer.
Yeah,
I just have
we
to
can
figure
do
it
that.
out.
Okay, well, you figure it out.
Thank you again.
All right, folks. So, I like to thank whoever took the time out to listen to our venting.
Yes, because pretty much that's what it was.
Yeah, and I hope everything works out for you guys wherever you are, whatever state. I know there's a lot of people listening to us in Idaho. But I truly, I'm gonna leave off with this. I truly hope that he does exactly what he says, because this country needs to be taught a lesson, and maybe when it hits people personally, they'll realize, and I think that's part of the problem.
I still don't think they're gonna get it. I just truly hope that this 4 years go by relatively quickly, and that the next person that runs against him wins.
Yeah, and let me go. I'm gonna do my 2020. Was it 2028?
Yes.
That's the next one. My 2028 endorsement already. I'm endorsing Governor Gavin Newsom.
Oh, that's who you
California.
wanted to first go round.
That's what I did. I wanted him this time around, but hey, it happens.
Yes.
So, and we're not ready. Huh?
You know the sad part though? Within 4 years, there's so much damage that can be done.
Absolutely.
They keep saying 4 years, but it's so much damage.
Absolutely.
Support, educational system, health department,
everything.
So much damage. The military.
Yep. So. I'm trying not to think about it. I'll make myself sick.
What Harriet Tubman say? She said she saved 1,000 slaves and brought them to freedom. She could have saved another 1,000 if they knew they were slaves.
Yeah. Yep.
I think I should have a special episode on and call out some of these Negropeans.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Well, you're not making me leave here with a daggone headache and my pressure up.
It's not just a color thing. It's
clearly
it's a mentality.
Yep, clearly it's not a color thing, because women and Latinos voted for him, so clearly it was not a color thing.
Okay, so let me tell you this. This is what I've discovered. It's always education, and how you keep that from happening. You keep people from knowing each other's history and their culture, and it's a cultural thing. So some cultures just do not want to see a woman head, period. Right. So you have that, and you have a lot of people who just don't know. They're unaware. They're uneducated about certain things. And until we've actually I don't think we'll fix the cultural thing, but until we fix the educational part, it won't change.
Yeah.
So
start your home, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. You are right.
All right. We're going to sign out here.
Yes.
But thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you, family, for listening. Thank you, family, for listening to the latest episode of Hot Topics. As usual, listen, like, share, subscribe. Ta. I represent, this is what I do.
I represent, this is what I do.